Shalom. Within the broader discourse of identity formation, this paper and presentation focuses specifically upon Jean S. Finney's comprehensive theory of ethnic development, a model profoundly relevant to the unique journey of individuals within various communities of Judaism. This exploration delves into how Finney's stage illuminates the complex processes by which ethnic identity is understood, explored, and ultimately embraced, particularly for Jews of color navigating multifaceted cultural landscapes. My paramount endeavor is to integrate this theoretical framework with profound personal narratives, demonstrating its vital application in ministerial and theological contexts. The exploration of identity, particularly within the context of minority group experiences, has long been a critical area of psychological inquiry. Among the various theoretical contributions, Finney's work on ethnic identity development provides a robust framework for understanding how adolescents from minority backgrounds navigate the complexities of their ethnic heritage in a dominant societal context. Finney's seminal article, Stages of Ethnic Identity Development in Minority Group Adolescence, delineates a process through which minority youth come to understand, explore, and commit to their own ethnic identity. This framework is particularly salient for those of us engaging in Messianic Jewish ministry, as it offers a lens through which to examine the multifaceted nature of identity as a Jew. This is especially for individuals who are Jews of color. Finney's research, based on in depth interviews with 91 Asian American, Black, Latino, and white 10th grade students, sought to determine whether stages of ethnic identity development derived from existing literature could be reliably applied from diverse ethnic backgrounds. His work aimed to describe how these adolescents dealt with ethnicity as a component of their identity, its relationship to ego identity and adjustment, and differences among ethnic groups. Finney's model extends Erik Erikson's theory of ego identity development, operationalized by James Marcia, by applying the concepts of exploration and commitment specifically to ethnic identity. While Marcia's paradigm describes four identity statuses: diffusion, foreclosure, moratorium, and achievement, Finney adapted these to the specific nuances of ethnic identity. His study reliably assigns 60 of the 64 minority group subjects to one of three stages, combining two of Marcia's categories due to difficulty in reliable distinction. These stages of ethnic identity development, as outlined, illustrate a progression in an individual's engagement with their ethnic background. The first stage was characterized as diffuse/foreclosed ethnic identity. It describes individuals who have engaged in little or no personal exploration of their ethnicity. For those in the diffuse status, there is a general lack of clear understanding or interest in ethnic issues, with ethnicity holding little importance in their lives. For foreclosed individuals, a commitment to an ethnic identity exists, often adopted without question from parental values or societal norms, and without genuine personal examination. The author notes that it is not always clear whether individuals in this initial stage necessarily harbor negative views of their own ethnicities. They may have adopted positive attitudes from family socialization without independent thought. They may have, in this study, just over one half of the minority subjects were situated within this lowest stage, indicating a prevalent lack of critical self reflection on ethnic identity during early adolescence. The second stage is the ethnic identity moratorium. This period involves an active, conscious exploration into the meaning of one's ethnicity. This frequently accompanied by some confusion or uncertainty. This exploration may be precipitated by a shocking personal or social event, or growing awareness of conflict between the majority's societal values and a positive view of one's own group. Individuals may seek to clarify the personal implications of their ethnicity during this period of inquiry, endeavoring to better understand themselves and their people. Approximately one quarter of the minority subjects were actively engaged in this stage. They express interest in learning more about their culture, conversed with family or friends about ethnic issues, read relevant literature, and reflected upon the effects of ethnicity on their present and future lives. This stage is critical for the development of a deeper, more personal understanding of one's ethnic heritage. The final stage represents an achieved ethnic identity. This is considered the optimal outcome of the identity process, characterized by thorough exploration followed by a clear, secure understanding and acceptance of one's own ethnicity. Individuals in this stage have resolved questions about their ethnic identity and have made a firm internalized commitment to it. This achievement is marked by acceptance and internalization of one's ethnicity, leading to a clear, confident acceptance of oneself as a member of a minority group, replacing any prior negative self image. In the author's research, about 1/4 of the minority subjects had reached this stage, demonstrating higher scores or independent measures of ego identity and psychological adjustment, underscoring the positive correlation between ethnic identity achievement and overall well being. It is important to recognize that while the process of identity development was similar across the three minority groups studied, the specific issues faced by each group were distinct. For example, Asian Americans often focused on academic pressures and quotas, while Black individuals grappled with issues of beauty standards and negative stereotypes. This highlights the nuanced way in which broader societal contexts interact with individual ethnic identity formation. The concept of self-identity is central to the author's model, as ethnic identity is viewed as a crucial component of an individual's overall self-concept. Maldonado, cited by Finney, emphasizes that ethnic self-identity is central to the development of the personal identity of minority group members. For Jews, especially those of color, this means that understanding and affirming one's quote-unquote Jewishness is not merely an external affiliation, but an intrinsic part of who one actually is. The process of exploring and committing to a Jew's ethnic identity contributes significantly to the psychological adjustment and overall well-being. The study of the identity of a Jew within Finney's framework reveals that for Jews of color, navigating ethnic identity often involves unique and unexpected challenges that many of their Caucasian counterparts do not have to suffer with, or expect that non-white members of Judaism have to sadly go through. Jews of color are often positioned at the intersection of their non-Gentile heritage and their racial or ethnic background, leading to complex identity formations. The diffuse or foreclosed stages might manifest as an unawareness of or an uncritical acceptance of dominant, often Ashkenazi narratives of Jewishness, potentially leading to the internalization of exclusionary views. The moratorium stage could involve actively seeking out knowledge of diverse experiences as Jews, engaging with messianic or non-messianic communities, and grappling with the prejudices encountered. The achieve stage would then represent a confident, integrated understanding of oneself as both a Jew and a person of color, affirming both aspects of identity without tension or internal conflict. This aligns with the scriptural understanding that the Most High gathers his people from every nation, from all four corners of the earth, not according to their appearances, but according to his covenant with Israel, as seen in Isaiah 56, verses 6 through 8, and Revelation 7:9. In my personal journey as a Jew of color, and more specifically as a Latino, within both Messianic and non-Messianic communities, I have encountered instances of marginalization that resonate deeply with Finney's stages of ethnic identity development. These experiences have served as personal turning points that precipitated a period of exploration and ultimately led to a more solidified, achieved ethnic identity. For a number of years, I have been invited to Messianic and non-Messianic Passover Seders. I was repeatedly asked if I was circumcised before I was invited to this appointed feast for Jews. The first time that I inquired as to the reason why, the response the response to the bewildering question was, because you have to be circumcised in order to participate in the Passover Seder. Operating from a place of ignorance, I automatically presumed that all Jews, irrespective of their ethnic backgrounds, were subjected to such questioning. This was an example of a foreclosed understanding, where I accepted a norm without critically examining its underlying reasons of broader context. This unexamined acceptance continued until a pivotal personal turning point. One year, a Sephardic congregation consisting entirely of Latinos invited me to their Passover celebration. During the invitation, I volunteered over the telephone that I am circumcised. The gentleman inviting me instantly was at a loss for words. He paused before replying, I'm not sure why you're telling me that, but yeah, oh, okay. The immediate discrepancy between my expectation and his reaction initiated a period of moratorium for me, prompting a critical reevaluation of my previous assumptions. Upon visiting the Sephardic synagogue, a few of the brothers, now mind you, this is my first time visiting it, a few of the brothers took me to a separate room, closed the door, and spoke with me privately. One expressed their discomfort and displeasure for my volunteering such intimate information about the most private part of my anatomy, and sought to understand why I would say that to another man. My response was, well, I didn't think it was a big deal. I have even been asked by both men and women in the past if I was circumcised in order to attend their Passover events. This was met with a temporary pause and puzzled looks from all three men. After looking at one another, their expressions then shifted, indicating suspicion. One asked me, let me ask you a question, Aki George. Were all of these white congregations that asked you that? The proverbial light bulb and aha moment suddenly became illuminated, not just in my head, but over my head, as I understood why I had been asked this question all those years, particularly since Latino Gentiles often have a reputation for being uncircumcised. My response was simply, oh, ew. Everyone then laughed. I asked, have you ever heard of this before? They replied, no, but we have pretty much encountered everything else that is imaginable when it comes to white Jews, when they come across Jews of color. You will never hear of Latino Jews asking another Latino, especially a man, asking another man if they are circumcised. To us, we will wonder if he is a homosexual. However, if it was a white man, we would presume that it was just another one of their weird discriminatory weak tactics to try to prove that they are more Jewish than the rest of us. This conversation served as a profound moment of exploration, moving me from a state of confusion to one of critical awareness, a clear marker of the moratorium stage. Another incident further solidified my understanding of the pervasive and perverse nature of prejudice within many circles composed of mostly or entirely white Jews. A friend of mine who was the only Sephardic Jew and Latino who was a member of a non-Messianic Ashkenazi Jewish synagogue in New York City, arranged for his grandfather, a renowned non-Messianic Sephardic rabbi from Puerto Rico with hundreds of years of traceable ancestors dedicated to Judaism, to preach in the synagogue. Now keep in mind, this entire family is non-Messianic. This entire family is very much Jewish. A huge poster was hung outside of the synagogue, and as soon as one walked in, another one of equal size was clearly visible. About a month before the event, my friend was asked in a casual conversation by fellow members if he had anyone in his family with the Spanish name Jesus, which in English means Jesus. Remember that this was not a Messianic assembly. After realizing they were serious, he repeatedly asked, why would I, as a Jew, have someone in my family named Jesus? The answer was, because you're Latino. When he repeatedly challenged this, stating they knew his family were not converts, and his grandfather was very, very famous. And the one name that Jews would never call their children is Jesus or Jesus. The prejudiced reply was, oh, we know that your family, we know that you guys aren't converts. It's just that a lot of, you guys, meaning Latinos, have the name Jesus. My friend, deeply offended, contacted his grandfather, explained the situation, and both withdrew from the prejudiced assembly. This exemplifies how ethnic stereotypes can supersede established identity as a Jew, forcing individuals to confront and reject discriminatory assumptions. A finally personally witnessed example involved a gentleman with a stereotypical Indian dark complexion. Mind you, I didn't say he was Indian, I said he had a stereotypical dark Indian complexion. He had a heavy accent and wore a kippah at a classical synagogue in New York City. While questioning him, some Ashkenazi members made inconspicuous remarks to discredit the visitor's Judaism, laughing when he, due to linguistic issues, did not realize their mockery. His confusion grew as he sought clarity, even asking them to speak in Hebrew. Their amusement intensified at the thought of this dark skinned man wanting to discourse with them in Hebrew. His frustration peaked when he finally stated, "I'm sorry, I'm an Israeli. Traditional Hebrew is my native language. I don't understand European Jewish Hebrew. Since you really don't speak Hebrew that well, would you mind just speaking to me in English more slowly?" Their laughter ceased, replaced by shock, seriousness, and eventually embarrassment, as they realized the person they were ridiculing was a genuine Jew from Israel. I asked the gentleman later that evening if he was a Sephardic Jew. He said that he was and asked me if I was a Sephardi. I told him that my family members are. This experience highlights the racialization of identity as a Jew, where physical appearance and perceived origin are used to question one's authenticity rather than adherence to the covenant of the knowledge of sacred language. These experiences, though painful, have been instrumental in my journey towards an achieved ethnic identity as a Latino Jew. They have compelled me to explore the complexities of the identity of a Jew beyond monolithic assumptions, to confront and challenge prejudice, and to ultimately embrace a confident, integrated understanding of my heritage. This process has allowed for a deeper connection between Finney's theoretical framework and the lived realities of identity formation and marginalization, grounding theoretical understanding in personal experience and significantly enriching its practical application and overall relevance. The model of ethnic identity development offers a profound lens for understanding the complex journey of minority adolescents in forming a cohesive sense of self. The research consistently demonstrates that a clear, confident embrace of one's ethnic identity directly correlates with enhanced ego identity and improved psychological adjustment. For Latino Jews, particularly those navigating the often fraught intersection of their ethnic identities, this developmental process is not merely academic. It is profoundly personal and vital. My own journey, marked by instances of prejudice and the unsettling imposition of external assumptions, vividly illustrates the very theoretical stages Finney outlines. The uncomfortable questions about my circumcision, the prejudiced remarks about my friends having perhaps the most disliked name in traditional Judaism, Jesus, and the ridicule of a fellow Sephardic Jew who is dark-skinned in a synagogue were not isolated incidents. Rather, they collectively function in the shocking personal or social events Finney describes, propelling me through the discomfort of diffusion / foreclosure and the active inquiry of moratorium. These encounters led directly to the confident, integrated understanding that defines an achieved ethnic identity. This personal integration of Finney's robust theoretical framework with the specific lived realities of my own identity formation underscores the profound and inseparable link between academic understanding and personal transformation in the pursuit of a full and vibrant identity as a Jew within the Messianic context. Shalom.